Do you have a list of questions?
No.
Okay.
No, we just ask.
We'll just wing it.
We just ask
what we
questions
do.
haphazardly.
Okay.
That's how we roll.
You might get haphazard answers that way.
Yeah. Obviously, you can tell we're not professionals based
Oh,
on
that's okay.
our questions. So we'll start out. Mark and Paulette, the two travelers in Mexico, and today we are here with our friend Mike, who actually came from the same area that we did, roughly in Sacramento.
But we didn't know him in Sacramento when we lived
Sacramento,
there.
yeah. We just met him a couple of days ago, and we had a common friend. And now, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How many times have you been to Mexico? What areas have you liked?
What draws you here?
Sure. And I've been to Mexico many times. I'm not sure how many. I haven't counted
Lost
them.
count.
Lost count. The cities that I've been to.
When you run out of fingers and toes, it's hard
well,
to-
let's see. I've been to, starting south and we'll work north, San Cristobal de las Casas, Oaxaca City, Puerto Escondido, Mexico City, Guadalajara, Morelia, Cuernavaca, Puebla, Mérida. Where else?
Did you ever make it to Campeche?
I've made it to Campeche, which has a walled city.
Yeah.
I prefer the high altitude colonial cities because it doesn't get too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
I'm not a real fan of heat and humidity.
Yeah, neither are we.
All right, neither are we.
I've been to La Paz, been to Guanajuato, San Miguel de Allende, Tijuana.
We're a traveler over
afternoon.
here. So
And that's just Mexico.
Yeah. So, what is it that keeps drawing you back to Mexico?
Sunshine, friendly people.
Uh-huh.
I think they're you run into good people and bad people anywhere you go, but they seem to be more polite, more welcoming. You'll meet someone here and they'll say, "Are you coming back?" And I'll say, "Oh, sure, I might." And they say, I'll say, "Maybe you can help me find a hotel," and they're expecting you to stay at their house.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in the United States.
no, it does not.
It's like if someone invites you to dinner, take them up on their offer, because it's almost like they're upset, or not upset, but like they're
Like
almost
offended.
An insult.
offended
Yeah.
if you don't go to
Right.
their house for dinner.
And I mean, you could have just met him 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Mike? And it's like, hey, come over to our
Come
house for
over.
dinner.
Yeah.
And usually it's a better meal, or it's probably a better meal in service than what you'll get if you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm fluent enough to navigate the culture and get around and ask questions, and that helps a lot too.
Mike is more than fluent enough to navigate. He's pretty good at Spanish.
Yeah, he is.
And well, thank you. And everyone starts out as a beginner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still beginners after 2 years.
So, you talked to us a little bit about your plan, possibly living in Mexico for 6 months or a year, and then maybe back to your home in the U.S. for a while. And
Well, my plans are kind of fluid right now. Well, I am somewhat anchored in California because I own a house there, and I have a car, and I have friends there.
yeah,
I think most of them follow me on Facebook and say, "I live vicariously through your
Through
travels.
you.
Keep
Yeah.
on traveling."
yeah,
And so it's one day at a time. I will probably, return to Mexico. Right now, I'm finishing up some family business in the States, and I'll probably come back to Mexico later on. I've been traveling all this time just with the 180-day
visa.
visa,
Yeah.
which works for me.
And you're actually centrally in Morelia right now.
right
You've been
now.
there
Right.
since like January.
Early January.
Okay.
And
Are you going to write out your whole 180 days, or are you going to go back
no,
before then?
I'll be going back April 21st.
Okay.
And get my car smogged, do my taxes,
Yeah.
take care of some
You'll
family
be going
matters.
back when?
April 21st.
That's after tax day, you know. It's
Oh.
April 15th.
I know that, but if you get an automatic 6-month extension, and if you're out of the country April 15th, you get 2 more months.
Oh,
Didn't
okay.
know
So,
that. Good
look at-
information.
Well,
Look
I
at
used to
Mike
work
working.
for
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Franchise Tax Board in
Yeah, so
California.
that's how he knows all. That's how he knows to work the system, folks.
Right.
Working the franchise tax board.
And they paid me an extra $100 a month because I could say, "Usted necesita pagar sus impuestos." In Espanol, you need to pay your
You
taxes.
pay your taxes. Yep.
Very important. And I knew a lot more than that, but
Yeah. For people considering traveling to Mexico or maybe even moving to Mexico, what advice would you give them? Say, just like culturally, as an example.
culturally, well, expect, there's this stereotype that Mexico is a more laid-back culture,
Yeah.
which is true. If you go to a restaurant, you're gonna have to say "La cuenta, por favor,"
That's
Yeah.
right.
and otherwise, unless it's closing time and
Yeah.
they want to get back to their
Right.
family,
But that La Cuenta por favor could be 2 hours after you finished eating.
Yeah, they don't care.
They're not in a hurry to get rid
You
of
don't
you.
get booted out, kind of
Right.
like you do in the States.
No.
You get that look, or you
Right.
get the waiter saying, "Is there anything else you want?"
Yeah.
A couple of times, like, "Get out of here, we need the table."
or
No, but like Paulette and I mean, if we knew that there were people waiting in line to be seated, we would never do
Of course.
that. I mean, we
Of
would just finish our meal and ask for the bill and go.
right.
So,
And the same thing is true, I think, in a lot of countries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's not like you're being rushed out by
Right.
any
yeah.
means.
It was that way in Spain too,
Yeah,
that I
it was.
recall.
Have you made it to Spain too?
No, I haven't.
But how about Portugal?
No.
No.
I haven't made it to Europe.
But he's been to, like, would you say Colombia and
Colombia,
Peru?
Peru, Ecuador, Guatemala twice, Costa Rica twice,
He's just a traveling fool.
and
Of the cities, of the countries you've mentioned, aside from Mexico, which countries did you like the most?
Yeah.
Peru had with Machu Picchu, and it seemed to have the most. I'm amazed at the way that the Incas could build, constructed things.
Yeah.
You look at the construction, see that wall over there? The Incas would put, huge stones on top of other huge stones, and they fit together like Legos. And they didn't have mortar.
Yeah.
And those,
The stones interlock.
yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
The Spanish, their, buildings last centuries. The Incas will probably last millennia.
Yeah.
Millennials, I'm not sure. Millenniums.
Yeah. Millennial.
Millennium.
Yeah.
And you were talking about other cultural things. Learning Spanish helps.
Yeah.
The more Spanish, unless you plan on living in a
Like an
expat community,
enclave, yeah.
or just
Like, when you think of an expat community in Mexico, what do you think of?
Ajijic, San Miguel de Allende, La Paz is that way.
Yeah.
I think there's some areas also, or maybe all of the areas in Puerto Vallarta.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a lot that retire there
Right.
too.
Beach communities.
Right.
I think when most Americans think about retiring in Mexico, they have a dream of a hammock,
Yep.
between 2 palm trees,
Looking
By the
out at
ocean.
with
beach,
a
or the
cold
ocean.
beverage in their hand, listening to the waves, maybe
Yeah.
listening to mariachi music
Yeah.
or Jimmy Buffett.
And actually, that was my idea when Mark and I were first thinking about it. We watched a lot of YouTube, and I thought, oh, we could live by the ocean and just kick back and have a cerveza and dip our feet in the water with our hammock. But then it has a
Reality.
price too. You got the humidity. You got that heat.
Insects.
Yeah.
You got the bugs, mosquitoes, all
Uh-huh.
that stuff, sand fleas,
Higher prices.
Yeah.
higher prices.
Well, the only part of that vision that actually came through was the occasional cerveza.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But in our, house at 6,400 feet above sea level with no sea or in sight.
Right.
Right.
So,
We do have the mountains, which
Yeah.
is
Uh-huh.
which is really nice. We're surrounded by them where we live in San Luis Potosí. But there's a lot of soft landing places, and that
Yeah.
would be
The-
some of them.
Yeah, if you're have limited Spanish and if you want to spend a lot of time, interacting with expats,
Right.
talking about, American sports and American politics,
Right. Right.
that's a place for you.
yeah, that's
Yeah. And there are a lot of our subscribers that say that when they start out, they're going to do that soft landing in those
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
Maybe move on from there, maybe not. We're all so unique in
Right.
what we like and
and it's all about preference in your personal comfort zone too.
Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly.
And there's another words of advice would be, visit these places in person and find out what works for you. Just
Yeah.
because you read an article online, in International Living
There you go.
that
Yeah.
says, Panama is the place for you. It's perfect.
And they paint everything with a rose colored.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no downside. And you see on the page, there's also ads for condos,
Yeah.
in Panama. That might be a tip
Yeah. Yeah.
that they might not be the most unbiased source.
Right.
That's like in Paulette, I always say, if you're convinced you're going to buy a house in Mexico or something, live in whatever city you're planning on first for a year. Just rent for a year
Uh-huh.
to make sure, number one, that you're going to like it for
Exactly.
all 4 seasons.
Right.
To make sure that once you get here, you're going to be okay with not being near family in the United States anymore.
That's right.
And things of that nature.
And then from there, you can venture off.
Yeah.
And go to Oaxaca, Huatuco, Cuernavaca, wherever you want to go, and check it out for a few days or a week or whatever.
Or a
Get a
month.
feel
Yeah.
for that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Get a feel for that. Because you've got your main area that you're going to live, and we always suggest rent furnish for that first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yesterday, when I was walking from the Park Morales to the other park, it's the smaller park.
Keys,
It starts
uh-huh.
and some guy, passed me, and he looked at me and says, "You're an adventurer." So I don't think they get a whole lot of, American-looking people
Yeah.
here.
Well, maybe it was the grizzly Adams.
The grizzly.
and sideburns.
And the hat.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but the expat community here in San Luis is pretty much
minimal.
Yeah. Like I think our friends make up all of it.
Pretty much, yeah. When we get together with our friends, that's 90% of the
Uh-huh.
expat population
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Mike, let me ask you this. What places in Mexico would you like to visit that you've not been yet?
That I haven't been to. I haven't been to Puerto Vallarta. I haven't been to Mazatlan, and I'll probably get there sooner or
Yeah.
later. I've been to Cancun years ago. At that time, it was just for a week. In 1999, my Spanish wasn't that good. I'm not sure. Usually I'll I'll go one place and then I'll hear people talking about another place.
Right.
That's how I ended up in San Luis Potosi.
So then you go to that place and check
Because
it out
of
for a few
Jonava,
days.
Yeah,
right?
I met Jonava, and I have a mutual friend, and we became, friends on Facebook. And so she said, "Oh, this is if I would have seen San Luis Potosi, I might have moved there first."
Yeah.
And so when I travel, I usually travel for a couple of months at a time. And so I figured, well, I'll take 5, I booked an Airbnb a couple of weeks in advance for 5 nights near Parque Tangamanga, which is over 1,000 acres,
Yes.
a huge park.
Mexico's second largest park.
Yeah, and I wanted to be there rather than close to El Centro. I'm
Yeah.
fairly close to El Centro. A 10 peso or 50-cent bus ride,
Yeah.
and just a little bit of walking.
But your journey's over tomorrow.
My
Here.
journey continues.
I mean, it's over here in San Luis.
I think when I die, my journey's going to continue.
Yeah.
But I mean, here in San Luis, then he's going to go back to Morelia, and then you're going to visit Pascuaro.
Pátzcuaro for a couple of days.
Okay.
And just to get to know, I've been there twice, just for one day.
And I think that's an area where there's going to be more expats.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
more expats there per capita than Morelia.
Yeah.
And-
Pátzcuaro for us was nice, but it was too small.
Too small
Uh-huh.
for
You could
us.
basically cover Pátzcuaro walking
Yeah.
Right.
half a day or
Uh-huh.
3/4 of a day.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good area for somebody that wants a small community, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pascuaro, it works for sure.
And there's over 100. They call them magic.
Oh, yeah,
city,
Magic
Magicos.
Pueblos. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Pueblos Mágicos,
Magicos, yeah.
and I think they would be good for a day or maybe if you're
Right.
with a friend and you like the friend, a 3-day weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, some trips are good just for, 2 days to kind of get a feel. And I mean, that's always how we did things,
Yeah.
If there was an area that we were considering, we thought we would go there for a
Couple
week.
of days or
No, maybe like a
4
week.
days,
Right.
5 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 days to a week.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then if we really liked it, then we would make another trip. And then if we thought, okay, this is it for sure, then maybe one more trip and then make that
Yeah.
move. But for us, it was San Luis
Yeah.
Potosi.
And it seems to have been working for you.
Yeah.
Well, we have a
You
house.
bought a
so-
house.
Yeah.
You're decorating it with plants.
Yes, lots of
And
plants.
you got furniture.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it just on your YouTube.
Yeah.
I found your YouTube videos after I met Jonava, and I started doing a little bit of research on YouTube, and I found the Two Travelers website YouTube page, and started. And you mentioned that you had lived in Morelia
Yeah.
for a year
And
before.
I think we talked a little bit
Yeah.
back and forth and stuff
Right,
before.
and then I put 2 and 2 together that you were a friend of Jonava.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
So, but I think if there's any advice, there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
True, true. Now, there are a lot of people that here in the United States, don't go to Mexico, it's dangerous. What's your feel on that, being here multiple times and back again?
I have, sometimes I say, yes, it's dangerous, go away, please go away. The
Yeah.
prices will go up.
Yeah.
So that travelers won't come here, that they'll go
But-
somewhere else to retire.
or people he doesn't like. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
everybody. But I'm not looking for drugs. I'm not selling or buying drugs.
There you go.
I don't drink alcohol, which keeps me out of a lot of scrapes.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not hanging at the bar.
I'm not
you know,
hanging out at the bar
2
singing
in the morning and
Besame
stomping
Mucho
out. Yeah,
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
exactly.
And looking for love at first sight. I'm, usually, I'm here as a tourist, and I'm here to enjoy the food, the weather, the culture, the people, and I enjoy waking up in a colonial city and walking past a cathedral that was several hundred years
Yeah,
old.
it's
then you go-
amazing.
And then
That
you go
took
to
80
one-
years to build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. A lot of these churches here, it literally took generations
Uh-huh.
to build. The people who started it,
Right.
a lot of cases weren't around to see its completion.
Exactly.
And then you could go 2 more blocks and see another church.
Uh-huh.
Like that, you know, it's just an amazing thing.
It is. It is. The thing that I like too is even those old buildings, like you probably noticed this also because you're staying in Morelia, is, like you'll see like the paint all chipping off and whatever, on the structure. But that kind of gives it its character too,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It really shows you the oldness of that building. It's still standing,
Right.
300,
Yeah.
400 years, whatever, 500
Yeah.
years later.
And
Yeah.
on the east coast of the United States, the English came. They built buildings, obviously, but you don't see anything from 1776 or
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing in the United States, like Mark and I were just talking about this, if there's a building that looks like it needs some work, they go in it, or they go to it and they bulldoze it down, and then put up a new structure. Where Mexico doesn't do that, and I think that's the beauty of it myself. And other countries don't do that either.
Yeah.
And I think that's, that's the character of it.
Yeah.
They preserve the past.
Yeah.
I think they seem to cherish their history more
Yeah.
here than in the U.S.
I think so. I think
All right.
so. Well, any final closing
Oh.
words to the viewers on retiring, visiting, whatever, Mexico or?
Buena suerte y vaya con Dios.
And
Oh, I always say this. I almost forgot. And you can do it with me, Mike. From the
Okay.
2 travelers in Mexico.
what they did